So we are going to start to talk about social animals, and in this case, we are going to talk about social animals, mainly the bee and the termite. This is what we are going to discuss, and we are going to start with the definition here. And we have to take the termite, we have to take the bee, we have to discuss about the various castes that they have, and we have to talk about the role that each of these castes is playing in the colony. So let's start with what are social insects. As we said, these are insects that live in an organized group. That means they are living in a group. They are not solitary where they have to live singly, like we have in the case of snakes. Let's say snake, they are social animals. Some will be there for reproduction, some will be there for defense. So in the case of defense, it could not have been easy for even us, the humans. So where individuals perform different roles, like in some cases we have the king that is just there to meet with the queen, and the queen has to lay egg, and we have the soldier that they will just be there for defense. So they do this thing most often for survival, they do it for protection and for reproduction. So example of social insects, we have the ant, we have bees, and we have termites. We have many more social insects which they are not part of this slide. You can name as many as we have been asked. So let's talk about the characteristics of social insects, that they live in group, which I've just explained, and this group they live in is what we call colony. They display division of labor, just like I said, some of them will be responsible for defense, some of them will be responsible for reproduction, some for building of the nest, and some will even be responsible for forage of food, that they have to go and find food for the colony. They also show distinct castes, such as the workers, queens, kings, soldiers, etc. What we mean by this distinct castes, that in terms of their structure, when you observe their structure, the worker, they differ by structure compared with the queen, and the queen also differ by structure with the king. So all of them, they have their different structures which you can use to identify them, that this one is the queen, this one is the king, this one is the worker, this one is the soldier, etc. And they communicate with one another within, that means inside or outside the colony, using sound. Like some of the sound that they produce will inform others that there is a danger around. Some of the sound that they produce will indicate that it is time for reproduction, and even their movement. In some cases, like we have in B, the way they move, it can inform the colony that the food is far away. In the case of movement, like we have in B, they may perform certain dance, and that dance can indicate that the food is closer or the food is far away from the colony. So let's start with termites. And I have to give a brief revision concerning wasps from classification, where we talk about arthropod and where we talk about class Acenta. The termite is found under the phylum Arthropoda and under the class Acenta. Now you will be asked to justify your statement. If you see a diagram like this in WASP, they may first ask you to identify it. After you identify it, they may ask you to name the phylum. The phylum is phylum Arthropoda, and they will ask you to give two reasons. So you have to give reason, for example, like they have segmented body. Like in this case here, we have the head, we have the thorax, and we have the abdomen. So their body is what being segmented. And two, you look here, they have jointed appendages. That means these their legs they are having here, these legs they are having, they are being jointed. And number three, when you observe this one, they are bilaterally symmetrical. That means you can use only a single line to divide them into two equal halves. That is what we mean bilaterally symmetrical. But in the case in which you have to name it now as class A center and you are being asked to give reason, just observe when we were given reason to justify for Phylon Arthropoda, we said their body is what segmented. We don't tell them how many segments it is having. Just say their body is segmented. If you say they have three body segments, not all arthropods are having three body segments. It is wrong. You have to give a characteristics that all of the arthropod, all those organisms under the phylum Arthropoda, they have. They have segmented body, they have jointed appendages, they are bilaterally symmetrical. That justification is correct for all the organisms under the phylum Arthropoda. So when you are being now asked to justify for class center, so that is the time that you have to be specific now. Now we said they have segmented body. Now in this case, we have to tell how many segments are they having under the class in center. So they have three body segments. That is one justification for class in center. Then number two, we said under the arthropoda that they have jointed appendages. Now we have to tell them under the class is center how many jointed appendages are they having. They have three pairs of jointed appendages, as we can see here. We have one, two, three, one, two, three on the other part. So they have three pairs of jointed appendages. Then the other one we said they are bilaterally symmetrical. Yes, all ascents are bilaterally symmetrical. That one you can give it for phylum Arthropoda and you can also give it for class Ecenta. But when we look at the class Ecenta, it has something on the head here which we call antenna and we just have one pair. And all ascents they are having one pair of antenna. And some of them have wing. The wing can be one or two. Some do not have. But you have to observe the diagram. Do not mention it if it is not having a wing because they will ask you about observable features, what you are seeing, not what you know. What you are seeing is what you are going to write about it. They ask you about observable features and you know they are triploblastic animal and you write they are triploblastic animal. Are you seeing they are triploblastic? So in that case, if you write they are triploblastic animal, yeah, that is true about phylum Arthropoda. They are triploblastic animals, but you are not seeing it. So you will not be awarded any mark, even though you are saying the correct thing. So you have to be careful on how you give your answers. So now let's talk about the queen and the king. Let's talk about social essence. That one was just side attraction to remind you how WAEC will come with their question and how you have to answer it. So let's focus on actually what we are to do. So we are going to start with the first cast here that we have here, which is the queen. The role of the queen is to lay eggs for the colony. And the characteristics about it, it is the largest. As you can observe here, we have the queen and you observe it, it is the largest among all of them. It has a swelling abdomen. It is having the swelling abdomen here because it has eggs in it. That makes the abdomen to become swelling. And the king here, which is the second one, the role of the king is just to mate with the queen and nothing else. And its characteristics, it is smaller than the queen, but larger than the worker and the soldiers that we have. Now let's talk about the workers, which is the third one that we have here, as you can observe it. The role of the worker, they do forage for food. That means they are the ones that they have to go and find food for the colony. They care for the young. So after the king has mate with the queen will lay the eggs, and these eggs are being taken care of by the workers that we have in the colony. They are the one that we build, and they are the one that maintain the nest. So the building and maintenance of the nest is being done by the workers. Let me repeat it again. The workers, they are the one that forage for food. That means they find food for the colony. They care for the young. So after the king has met with the queen will lay the eggs, and that eggs and the young will be taken care of by the workers. And the workers, they are the one that build, and they are the one that maintain the nest. The nest can also be called hive, Hive. Characteristics of the workers. The workers, they are small, they are wingless, they are sterile, that means they cannot reproduce, and they have a soft body. When you observe it here, the others, they are having this black abdomen, black abdomen, black abdomen. That tells you it is thick. And this one here, it is having something brown or pink in color. That tells you here it is having a soft abdomen. So they have what? Soft body. And they are the most numerous caste. So among all of them, by number, they are the most numerous that we have. And we have the soldier here, just like we have in our country or we have in any country, their role is to defend or protect the colony. Their characteristics, they have a larger head. Observe their head here with the others. So they have the largest head among all of them, and they have a powerful jaw. Look at it here. This is their mandible, this one here, this one here. They are also wingless and sterile. That means they do not have wing and they cannot reproduce. The king and the queen, they were having wing when they were just wing reproductive or the harlot. Immediately they do mating, they will lose their wing. And the harlot, the wing reproductive, the one that they have to be the king and the queen later, the higher to the throne. Their role is to disperse. That means they have to move away to form new colonies. And the characteristics of the wing reproductive among them, even if you can observe this diagram, they are wing. That means they have wing. And among them, they are the only one in this diagram that is having wing. And they are dark in color. Just observe how dark is this one here. It's black in this picture, telling you it is dark in color. Next we have is the economic importance of termites. When we talk about economic importance in biology, it doesn't mean it has to be good, good, good. It can be good, it can be bad. It can be something that they can do that is harmful to others or something that is beneficial to others. One, they are edible in some cultures. Not all, but some people are eating it. So in that case, since they are animals, they provide protein. To make it very short, just say they provide protein or they are proteinous. That is one of their economic importance. Then the second one, they are decomposers. That means they do break down the remains of plants and animals. So we are going to talk about bees now. And in bees also they will ask you which phylum do they belong to, and they will ask you which class do they belong to. The same class with termites, the same phylum with termites, same justification. So let's start with the various castes that we have in bees. So in the bees, you can have the drone in here. So now this one is not called the king, it is called drone. And they have the queen and they have the workers. I guess you know what are the cars that have been absent here. Here we don't have any queen reproductive, and here we don't have any soldier in here. And here the king is called the drone on that base. So let's start with the queen here. The role of the queen, just like we have in termite, is to lay egg. And the queen, you can observe here, it is the largest among them. And it is having a larger abdomen. And there are many fascinating things, many interesting things that you need to know about the queen. During their mating flight, this queen will mate only once. After the flight for mating, which they have to do, just after that, it will never mate again. But during that flight, it can mate with several drones, but it can partake in the flight for mating only once. But during that flight for mating, it can mate with several drones. But just after that, it will never mate again. So all of the sperms that are coming from the different drones, it will be stored into a sac we call spermatica. And it is only the female bee, which can be a worker or a queen, that can sting. And it is only the queen that can sting and survive. The workers, all of them, they are female. But when they sting, the sting will remain in the body. And immediately after that, the abdomen will rot and the worker will die away. So for them, they can sting, but after that, they will not survive it for the workers. And how we have these workers and how we have this queen during mating, the female will lay two types of eggs. It will lay the fertilized eggs and the unfertilized eggs. The fertilized eggs will give rise to the queen and the workers. So the fertilized eggs will give rise to the queens and the workers. But mind you, those female that will be fertile, that means that they will be able to reproduce, they will be the queen. And what will happen, because we just need only one queen in a colony. So they have to fight each others, and even the workers, we kill some of them. So at the end of the day, we'll just have one queen in the colony. Or in some cases, they will disperse and form a new swarm. So next we have is the drone, and the role of the drone is to mate with the virgin queen. And their structural characteristics, it is larger and stouter than the workers. Just observe this one here. This is the drone, and observe the worker that we have here. So it is larger and stouter than the workers, with large eyes for locating queen during mating flights. So during mating, you can observe this one here. Just observe their eye. They have a large compound eye, which they can use to find the queen during mating. One thing about the male is that they lack stingers. They cannot sting, but they can give you a very painful bite. And we have the workers, that they perform various tasks, just as foraging, that means they have to go and find food. Brood care, they take care of the young. And the building and maintenance of the hive is being done by them. So for them, they are just there for working. And based on their structure, if you have been asked their characteristics, how you define them structurally, they are smaller than the queen and the drone. That means they are the smallest. So if you observe this one here, the smallest one among them here is this one, and this one is being regarded as the worker. But mind you, the worker is a female and the queen is a female. We don't have any male that is worker in this case. So with specialized parts, they have this pollen basket, which they can collect pollen with it, and it is found on their hinge legs. And they also have wax glands that they can use to produce wax. Look at it here. And you can observe from this picture here, look at the pollen basket. Although the wax gland, we cannot see it because it is inside. So now let's talk about economic importance of bees. The bees, they act as pollinators of many flowers. The honey that we do eat, they are being produced by the bee. So they produce honey which serve as natural sweetener. So they can use it in some food to make them very sweet. They can even use them in the case of syrup that we do drink to make it very sweet. So now let's talk about economic importance of bees. As we say, economic importance doesn't all the time has to be good, good, good. It can be good, it can be bad. So one is that they act as pollinators. That means they help to pollinate flowers. Then two, they produce honey. This honey they produce can serve as a natural sweetener. In fact, they use them in the preparation of food to make them sweeter. And also in the case of syrup, they are being used in syrup making. So the patient will not be discouraged from taking this medicine because of their bitterness. So they use honey in it so that it can become sweet. That one will even encourage the patient to adhere to their treatment. That one will even encourage the patient to go strictly by what is being prescribed. And they also produce what we call bee wax. And this bee wax is used in cosmetics like the lotion and other things that we use to make our body moist. They can also use them in the production of candles, and also they can use them in the preparation of medicine, which I have talked about it. And the growing of this bee, which we call apiculture, the bee owners, the one that is taking care of the bee, can generate income. And the branch of agriculture that talk about the growing of the bee is what we call apiculture, although it is not part, but you can add it to your knowledge. So the growing of bee is called apiculture. So now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of social assent, which we have discussed it already. So when they live in that group, it shows what efficient division of labor. When the works are being shared among them, it will be easier to carry. And strong defense of the colony. In this case, let's say snakes, they were social animals. They have some that they have to defend the colony. It will be very difficult for you to kill them if snakes were social animals, in which they can have the strong one, the one that can bite fast, for them to be guiding the colony. Even humans will not be able to challenge them in that easy way as we can do, even though it is not easy. And cooperative care of the young, we have the workers that their role, some of them will just be there to care for the young. So the young will be well cared for. And we have effective foraging and food storage. We have the workers there that they have to go and find food and they store that food. Even in the case of where we have droughts, they will have that store food that they can use to feed the entire colony. So next we are going to talk about the disadvantage of social assent, the disadvantage of them being living in a group. One is dependency on the colony. Since the works have been shared, their role have been shared, so they have to depend on one another continuously for survival. Like the king and the queen, they have to depend on the worker for foraging, that means for finding of the food. They have to depend on them for building of the nest. They have to depend on them for taking care of the young. And we have spread of disease. So disease can easily be spread in the colony because they are living closely together, they are touching one another. So in that case, for disease to transfer from one to another, it will be easy. And high competition for resources. Since we have the colony, let's say where we have a food drought, the food is not enough. There might be competition for that food and vulnerable if queen dies because they just have one queen in a colony.